Bonjour tout le monde! In this video, I'm going to share with you things that French people commonly do when they are speaking but are not taught at school, basically. Make sure you stay until the end because I've also added a word of vocabulary that French people use all the time in spoken French that you really need to know. Alors, si vous êtes prêts, c'est parti, on y va! Bonjour mate, bonjour mate, bonjour mate. The first thing that French people do all the time that you really need to know is il y a becomes ya. Il n'y a plus de pain, il y a plus de pain. Il y a du monde, il y a du monde. Il n'y avait personne, il y avait personne. So as you can see that il is gone. Au revoir, and we're just saying ya. Another thing that we do with il as well, and that's when it is with the expression il faut. Il faut. We tend to drop the il completely and say faut. Il faut que tu ailles voir un médecin. Faut que tu ailles voir un médecin. Il faut voir. Faut voir. Il faut que tu me dises la vérité. Faut que tu me dises la vérité. You see, the il is gone. Now, another very important one that you need to know is the je becomes che. So the subject pronoun je becomes che a lot of the time in spoken French. Now, there are rules actually on when je becomes che. And I did a video that explained this really well, so I'm not going to go back in it precisely here. But if you're interested in knowing exactly when je becomes che, which is in front of certain consonant, go and check it out here. But yes, for instance, the most common one that you need to know right away is je suis becomes suis. Suis, donc je suis là is je suis là. Je suis en retard, je suis en retard. Je suis pas sûr, je suis pas sûr. And then with je ne sais pas. French people say je sais pas, je sais pas. So these two, as long as you know these two, that's already very good. But if you want to know exactly, go and check out that video. It will help you. Then we have with the subject pronoun tu. We also do strange things with tu. Most of the time it has some sort of logic. Okay, tu becomes T apostrophe in front of a vowel. So instead of saying tu as, we're going to say ta. In the streets of Paris, a very common question, which I don't encourage because I'm not a smoker, but you might hear a French person walk up to you with hopes that you are one and say t'as du feu, t'as du feu, instead of saying est-ce que tu as du feu, t'as du feu. Okay? So this is a very common question in the streets of France in general. And as I said, I do not smoke, though I don't encourage it, but be prepared. Ensuite, another example, tu as raison, t'as raison, t'as raison. Tu as peur, t'as peur. Okay, so tu becomes T apostrophe. There is one situation that is so common in spoken French where the U disappears in front of a consonant as well, and that is with the verb savoir. So when we say to our friends when we're in the middle of a conversation and that we want to say, you know what I mean? You know, we're going to say tu sais, tu sais, tu sais. But instead of saying tu sais, a lot of French people say sais, sais. Tu sais pas quoi? Tu sais pas quoi? Tu sais pas quoi? Okay, so be prepared to listen out for this one. And if you ever hear that sais, that is what that is. It is the subject pronoun tu and the verb savoir, sais, tu sais. Personally, I don't really do that. It doesn't sound right for me, but now that I've told you, you will notice that a lot of people do it. So be prepared. Another thing is with enfin. Enfin, which is often translated as finally, which is not wrong. Enfin does mean finally. But in everyday speech, French people tend to use it like well or anyway. But instead of saying enfin, they say fin. So, for instance, they might say to you, je sais pas si je serai là ce soir, je termine tard, fin, je t'appelle. You see, I didn't say enfin, I said fin, je t'appelle. Je ne sais pas si je serai là ce soir, je termine tard, enfin, je t'appelle. Fin, je t'appelle. So this is a very common thing as well, and I personally do this. So when we're talking fast, we say fin, fin, on verra, fin, je sais pas, fin, bref, voilà, fin, fin. So be prepared to hearing that end of a word not fully said, and it sounds like you're actually saying the word fin alone, which means end, but that's not it. And then other things that are useful is those words that we ripped off parts of them to speak faster. Like peut-être. Peut-être becomes peut-être. Peut-être. Je ne sais pas, peut-être que je viendrai. Je ne sais pas, peut-être que je viendrai. We do that with parce que as well. Parce que. Instead of saying parce que, we're going to say parce que. Parce que. Parce que j'ai envie. Parce que. Parce que. Parce que the ars is gone. We're just saying parce que. Parce que j'ai envie. I don't know why we do this. It really doesn't sound nice, but we do it. Donc, parce que becomes parce que. And then petit becomes petit. J'ai découvert un petit restaurant qui était incroyable. Instead of saying j'ai découvert un petit restaurant qui était incroyable. So, petit also gets the same treatment. And another very common situation where we do a similar thing is with the verb devoir. Instead of saying tu devrais, we say tu devrais. Tu devrais. So, for instance, tu devrais aller chez le médecin. Instead of saying tu devrais aller chez le médecin. Tu devrais aller chez le médecin. One final tip for you before I give you that bonus spoken French word. It's with the déterminant de. De, it almost sounds like sometimes we don't say it. But it's there, we hear it, but for a foreign ear, it would be very hard to hear it. Example, il n'y a pas de chocolat. A French person is going to say, il n'y a pas de chocolat. Il y a de l'eau par terre. Il y a de l'eau par terre. We swallow that de. Il n'y a pas de quoi. Il n'y a pas de quoi. By the way, that's a very polite way of saying you're welcome. If somebody says thank you to you, merci, il n'y a pas de quoi. Il n'y a pas de quoi. Il n'y a pas de quoi. So that déterminant de is gone. Okay? Well, it's still there. We hear it. We swallow it. You do not need to do that. But being aware that that's what we're doing so that you can listen out for it and don't get confused thinking that the de is not necessary. It is necessary. It's just the way we pronounce it doesn't sound textbook. Et voilà, now I will give you that spoken French word that you hear everywhere. And it is genre. Genre. Genre is the perfect word to know when you want to understand Parisian girls having a little bit of a gossiping situation between each other. Genre. Okay? So we use it to say, a bit like in English, you use like. Like, you know what he said? Like, no. Okay, we do that with genre. Genre. Tu sais pas ce qu'il m'a dit? Non, mais genre. Tu crois? Non. Genre. So, genre is just that word, but it's a filler word that emphasizes what we're saying, and it doesn't necessarily mean a lot in the sentence. It's there as a word that emphasizes what we're saying. Genre, non. Voilà, voilà. I hope all these tips help you understand spoken French. If you want to learn how to speak French and understand more, don't hesitate to join my classes. They're live classes every week. They happen. I sit here and you guys are there. And it's $9.95 per month. Voila. I look forward to meeting you if you decide to come. The link is in the caption. I forgot. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Bisous. Bisous, bisous. Et à très bientôt.